top news headlines from the news desk at the Katanning Paper right now on Radio for Your Neighborhood. AM 1380 and FM 103.7. WTYM, Katanning, Ford City.
So in Pennsylvania, there is a critical issue with volunteer fire and EMS where there's a decrease in volunteerism. The cost of operations is going on higher and higher. And what I've been doing is going across the state promoting cooperation with municipalities and volunteer fire departments and EMS organizations. The only way we're going to solve the problem of this is working together, both the municipalities and the individual fire departments, looking at what they need, looking at working together, looking at to bring the community together to talk about what the future is. Because Harrisburg's not going to solve the problem. What's going to solve the problem is local communities working together, working with your counties, and working with state government. I work in Harrisburg every day. I'm an advocate for fire and EMS I'm part of the Pennsylvania Fire and Emergency Services Institute. We're a nonprofit, and we basically advocate and educate all across Pennsylvania. Communities where you're having difficulty getting volunteers also are communities that are getting older. The demographics are changing. However, the demand for services are going to continue. So departments have to become creative, like working together on different projects, looking at some regionalization concepts, defining what they actually need to keep their organization going.
Sometimes in government versus the fire department, for instance, you have this, one has the purse strings to some degree, the others are doing volunteer work and they're trying to raise the money. So each sees it a little bit differently. What concept did you bring to the table tonight to help them to figure out a midpoint of coming together?
What it is, it's defining expectations. That is the most important thing. Sitting down at the table and have the volunteer fire department define what their expectations are from local government, and then local government defining what their expectations are of the fire department. And what that is, the example of expectations are, what does the department need in the future? Let's be transparent about fundraising and funding. What does the municipality require? Does the municipality require them to turn over and find out what financial issues they have in the books? It's defining those clear expectations, that everything is transparent, that they're both in it together. They're not separate when it comes to public safety. This is critical for the public safety of all Pennsylvanians, is to have effective fire and emergency medical service response. The only way to do that is defining and clarifying your expectations, being open and honest about your capabilities, and eventually, the easiest way to fund organizations is through local tax dollars. And the conflict occurs because municipalities don't want to raise taxes. Over the years, volunteers have done such a great job at fundraising, but what's happening is people are so busy now. There's multiple fundraisers going on. The cost of operations is going up and the income is coming down. The only way to fix that is for some municipal tax support of a department. We're not saying it should be 100%, but also volunteer departments have to become more efficient, okay? Maybe we don't need all the departments that we have, or we move to a regionalization concept. Those are difficult things that require a lot of work and a lot of planning, but it's going to happen.
What's the thing that prohibits fire departments from joining together?
One of the biggest things, I hate to say it, is the pride in the organization. And it's hard because a volunteer has put many years in dedicating it to the organization. But what has been happening across Pennsylvania is a concept called regionalization, where there is several organizations come together administratively. They don't close fire stations down, but they have a board of directors over top of them where they have one president, one secretary, one treasurer, one chief, and then there's multiple fire stations underneath that. So that's happened in southeastern Pennsylvania in a couple of different places, and it's happened in the Adams County area. So there's one fire department that I know that now serves 14 separate municipalities because they've joined together. By pooling resources that are currently there, they're able to survive as a volunteer department. But it's that pride and tradition that gets in the way of doing that. And you don't want to see a department that goes completely away. We want to keep the department's history, but there are better ways of doing things to be more efficient.
You just got to work together. We're all here for one thing and one thing only, is protecting the citizens of whatever municipality, township, whatever you live in.
The one thing I'm going to take away from this is that when the firemen go out for wrecks and various things that they're called out by the police, they put a lot of time in that, a lot of volunteer time into that, a lot of money into that. And do the police need them as much as they do? Do they need them call them out for every wreck for traffic control? Just things to think about, things to look at and talk to the chief about and move forward with that.
We have to get council more involved, funding aspects, overall recognition of the fire departments, what the fire departments do for the community, and let council know the benefits that the Kittanning Borough receives from the fire departments, and what we receive from the borough.
The importance of communication between the volunteer fire department and the borough or township. Yeah, I took lots of notes. I'm going to get the presentation and come up with a plan.
WTYM, Kittanning Ford City, on the radio at AM 1380 and FM 103.7, and online at WTYMradio.com. Radio, computer, or smartphone. Stay connected to Radio for your neighborhood.